Hi, so it's me, Gemma, a story and song, and today I am doing something a little bit more relaxed. So I got a new camera, a new phone, the Samsung 10e, and I'm just trying out really how the video looks. So I thought I'd do a little sort of, if you like that, you might like this video, and see how it looks. So today I wanted to talk to you if you like the TV series Mindhunter on Netflix. You may have already watched it. There's 2 seasons out. It's about the people who set up the behavioural analysis unit at Quantico as part of the FBI. Now, the first thing I want to say is that Mindhunter fictionalises quite a lot of what's going on, but with regards to the sort of real criminals that it shows, it's actually pretty accurate. So if you recognised some of the killers that they interview, then there are some pretty good books you can follow up with. So one of the main characters, who hasn't yet been named but has been given a nickname, BTK, he appeared sort of sparingly in the first season and quite a bit more in the second season. They interview a survivor, they talk quite a bit about his crimes, and they talk quite a bit about his MO and things like that. Now, if you know the story about BTK, you'll know that unfortunately the poor characters in Mindhunter have no chance of catching him until 2005, when they ran a 20th anniversary sort of article in the local paper, I believe it's the Wichita Daily Bugle, about what had possibly happened to BTK. Had he died? Had he gone to prison? And the interesting thing about this particular case, I think the most interesting thing about it, is that if BTK had been able to, as we say in Scotland, hold his water, then he probably would have completely gotten away with it. They had no reason to look at this particular person. He came out of hiding and started sending more taunting letters and packages to the police, and this was eventually what got him caught. That is the most interesting part of the story, and if, like me, you find that interesting at all, then I recommend you read BTK, Bind, Torture, Kill. I believe that's Roy Wenzel is one of the main authors of that. He was a reporter on the story originally. Really good book, lots of good interviews with people who were there, and some really good analysis of the use of profiling in that particular case. So if you are interested in BTK at all and how that ties into Mindhunter, I recommend that. And in terms of other books that are similar you might enjoy, you've probably heard of Michelle McManus' I'll Be Gone in the Dark, which is about the Golden State Killer. Unfortunately, Michelle McManus died before she could finish the book, and it was finished off by some research assistants, reporters. In fact, one of them, I believe, does a podcast now with Paul Holes, who was one of the lead investigators on that case, and it's called The Murder Squad. I'll link that below as well. It's really good. And I'll Be Gone in the Dark is, I think, speaks to a lot of us who like true crime and who are maybe involved in the sort of web sleuth side of things. It's really interesting because it shed a lot of light on the case, and she actually came up with the name Golden State Killer. And again, the story of the apprehension is very interesting. In fact, I think it's the most interesting thing about it. And it seems to have been one of the first cases that sparked off this wave of familial DNA matches. So if you like Mindhunter, you will most probably like I'll Be Gone in the Dark. If you also like Mindhunter in terms of TV shows on Netflix, I can also recommend The Keepers. Great show, great. It starts off with a murder mystery but goes much, much deeper than that, and actually goes sort of to the heart of some very topical things that are going on in the world right now, namely things to do with abuse scandals in the Catholic Church, and again, how an investigation at that point worked, or in this case really didn't work at all properly. So very, very interesting stuff. Again, there is a podcast, I believe one of the ladies involved in the Keepers, her name is also Gemma, I can't remember her surname, I'll look it up, I'll put it on the screen when I remember. She's very nice. She also runs a Facebook group that I'm a member of, and can't really recommend the Keepers enough. I cried a lot. Another, if you liked Mindhunter, you might like this, is the Anne Rule classic, The Stranger Beside Me. Now, they do mention Ted Bundy a couple of times in Mindhunter, but they don't go into any great detail, which I think is good, because Ted Bundy is really overdone in a lot of ways. I think the recent film, it wasn't on Netflix UK, but I believe it's on Netflix US, was fine, I thought, but gave him too much of a personality, to be honest. And I think The Stranger Beside Me actually, for me, captured a lot of the way that people can fall for a psychopath in one way or the other. And it was really good, because Anne Rule was already slated to write the book about those particular murders before she even knew it was Ted Bundy, before she knew that she had met him. And Anne Rule had been a crime writer, she had been a police officer, and I think it really goes to show that even someone who would consider themselves quite savvy can fall for someone like Ted Bundy. It was really an interesting book, and it started off a lot of my interest in true crime. I've read quite a lot of her other books, but that is probably the only one I'd recommend, apart from maybe Green River Running Red. If you're looking for a good breakdown of the Green River killings, which is something else I was going to come on to, then I would say probably read that. I've not really come across a better book about Gary Ridgway. If anyone knows one, please do link it for me below, because I do find the case very interesting and sad. The next one that I would recommend is Lost Girls by Robert Kolker. This one covers what they're calling the Long Island serial killer. Now, the case kicked off when a woman went missing. She had a bad experience. She was a sex worker, and she'd basically fled a house and gone running out into the American marshes. And her mum reported her missing. They went looking for her. They expected to find her body, and instead they found other sets of remains, to which they say she's not related, but you know, quite a few people don't believe that. And it's really interesting. Shannon, her first name was Shannon, I remember that. I'll put her name on the screen. And the sets of remains, you know, some of them have been identified, some of them haven't, and they believe that that particular killer was operating from like Backpage, the erotic services section of Craigslist, things like that. There was also a really good documentary linked to that as well, done by the same people who made Cropsey. But Lost Girls is a really good book that kind of touches on, you know, I think it's something to do with almost the vastness of America and how people can go missing so easily. I mean, don't get me wrong, it happens everywhere, but I think, you know, the FBI, for example, were saying that if there was an ideal profession for a serial killer, truck driver would be it. And they do have quite a lot of theories about people who travel up and down the sort of highways of America and being serial killers. So that's quite a few things to start off with. Sort of my favourite true crime books. I also really recommend the podcast My Favourite Murder, which is really great. You've probably heard of that already. I would also recommend Case File, which is an Australian production. It goes into a lot of good investigative detail. It's not lurid, but it is detailed. I would also recommend Teacher's Pet, which is done by The Australian. That was a very good series. I was addicted to that last year, and what a story that one is. It kind of, if you like Dirty John, I think you'll like that as well, but also if you like, obviously, Mindhunter, as I said. So that's just a little bit of our recommendations if you like Mindhunter. I know I've rambled on a bit as well, but I really am very interested in true crime. So I am always happy to do more videos on specific cases, or, you know, if you like this true crime book, you'll like that one. Next time, I think I'm going to cover a book by Gordon Byrne. I'm going to talk a bit about Happy Like Murderers, which is a UK case. So that's next on the list. So again, if you like true crime, come and talk to me in the comments. I want to know what your favourite books are, if there's any good podcasts I've missed, if there are any TV shows on Netflix or Amazon Prime that I've missed. One thing I will say is if you are in Scotland or the UK, on iPlayer there is a really good show on just now, and it's called Murder Case, and they follow the Glasgow police for 15 months. So not really to do with Mindhunter, but if you like true crime in general, I can recommend that. It's still up on iPlayer. Alright, so until next time, take care. Bye bye.